All right, hey everyone, thanks for watching and tuning in. It's been a while since I personally made a video, but I wanted to make a video recapping this game. It's one of those games from a Browns fan perspective. It's pretty fun to kind of watch other people's reactions, and especially Chicago Bears fans. I've been going on YouTube the whole time and kind of scrolling through and just watching them all pissed off. I generally feel bad for Justin Fields, but yeah, it just seemed the incompetence from their offensive play calling it standpoint. It's just sad, and I don't miss those days. Being a Browns fan, experiencing that at all. Some quick thoughts that I wanted to kind of point out from the Browns game that I feel like a lot of people, maybe some points that a lot of people are talking about, some points are not. First and foremost, I thought Baker Mayfield played okay. Obviously he had those two touchdowns should have been touchdown passes. The one to I can't even say his name. Demetric Felton. Jeez, Demetric Felton. And the second one, Harrison Bryant. Those were two overthrows. That first one to Felton, it looked like he got pressured, and that's kind of why. The Harrison Bryant, it was just an overthrow. That one he needs to make. We don't need to have these Lamar Jackson overthrows. And going on and kind of on that topic as well with him overthrowing, part of that's due to the pressure and the offensive line in general. A little bit concerned about that. I know that Chicago has a really great D-line, good defense, blah, blah, blah. And I know Jedrick Wills is basically on one leg, but, I mean, he got destroyed. If he's that bad, then he shouldn't be playing the game. I know we have Blake Hands as our current backup right now for that tackle. I don't know why we don't have another swing tackle guy. I understand Hubbard's out. I don't know what happened to our rookie. I can't think of the name of right now. I think he might be injured, but still, like, we need somebody that's a true kind of backup tackle, hopefully, to play with Wills being on one leg. So that Hubbard injury, I would almost argue is as of right now a bigger injury than the Jarvis Landry injury, because we just need that help on that side of the line big time right now with Wills being limping the whole game. But he got destroyed. Bitonio had a horrible game. It's probably the worst game I've seen Bitonio play in a long time. And just the whole line in general wasn't good. Conklin didn't have a great game. I think they all had like penalties. Wyatt Teller got beat a couple times. Weird game from the offensive line. Nick Chubb also, I know he made couple good runs, but he just did not look good at all either. Which is, I guess, why it's nice to have that two-back system where you have a Pro Bowler as your number two, where Kareem Hunt tore it up. I thought Kareem Hunt probably had one of his best games in a long time. The stats might not show like all the touchdowns he gets in prior games where he gets like 2 or 3 touchdowns, but man, that dude just you could tell we needed him. He was essentially our Jarvis Landry for this game, converting these plays that we needed. Yeah, Kareem Hunt looked really good. I thought Odell looked very good for his first game back. You really can't expect anything more for him for having 70 plus yards. What was it, like 5 catches, I think. So I thought he had a great game. Baker, he had 1 or 2 throws in the beginning, looked like he kind of forced it his way, so if we want to play that forcing game, which I don't really think is an issue. But besides that, they look clean, the communication. I hope we use this more too. I love the backdoor passes that we had with him and Donovan People-Jones. And shout out to Donovan People-Jones. He made a couple huge catches, I thought, along the sideline and just in the game in general. So if we could just rely on him to kind of be one of those like 3 catches per game, let's say 50, 60 yards, 40 even yards per game, that'd be fantastic. Him and Higgins having a couple occasional big catches as well. That was awesome to see. So yeah, that's the offense. And I thought overall play calling was so-so. I think we're kind of playing it safe still, which I don't mind, I guess. We're not going super crazy with deep throws or anything. That's fine since Odell's still trying to get back. It's kind of interesting that Anthony Schwartz, and this is just a numbers game with all the receivers on our team, that not everyone's going to get a shot to like basically contribute that much. He had another very quiet game, which is kind of surprising. Demetric Felton, if I could ever say his freaking name. Obviously on the kicking game or punt return or whatever, he played very well, I thought. If you can just get 10, 15 yards, that's fantastic. Offense hit a couple good plays, so he played well. And that's a steal for where we picked him in the draft, I think. Switching to, speaking of the special teams real quick, so you had Felton had a couple good returns, and our kicker, Chase McCaughlin, that's outstanding. We really can't ask anything more, especially in Cleveland where the wind just goes any other direction, the elements. I don't care if it's 70 outside or not. that's impressive what he did to make those kicks, especially 57. That's a pretty decent kick. So kudos to him. That's a very good sign to see. I think that would be almost my main takeaway from the game, honestly, is that, as much as people want to talk about everything else, just because that, as we've seen in all these freaking games, unfortunately, Justin Tucker, what he did, that kickers are a difference in this league, and they do make an impact. So the fact that we have a kicker, hopefully, or like at least right now he looks competent, that's fantastic. Yeah, so I guess switching to the defense, that's pretty obvious where I stand on that. So I actually thought that our defense played pretty well. It was interesting on the broadcast that they did pinpoint, if you saw that, a couple plays that looked like blown coverages in our secondary, and I'm kind of getting sick of that. I'm not really sure why there's so much miscommunication on our back end, especially with Ronnie Harrison and John Johnson being veterans now. So I'm not really sure why those two. I can maybe see if Grant Delpit has some rookie learnings. That's fine. But still, that needs to get cleaned up. Obviously, the pass rush was awesome. You really can't say anything about that. I don't know why, for the life of me, Chicago didn't, as much as he literally bitched about it the whole game, Myles Garrett, with not being chipped the whole time and being double teamed, and they just let him run loose against a guy they picked up on the streets right before the season started for Chicago and Jason Peters. It makes no sense what they were doing. But yeah, kudos to Garrett. He spoke and talked up a little bit about the defense, and he backed it up with his own play as well. Clowney looked great as well with a couple sacks and some quarterback pressures. Malik McDowell is a steal. I would actually, if he keeps up his attitude and just the way he goes about football and everything, off the field stuff, I would love for Andrew Berry sooner than later actually to send him to an extension, because I believe he would be on a 1-year deal. I wouldn't mind locking that dude up right now, to be honest, because I think that's huge. That's a big part of the reason why our defensive lines looked okay so far this year. I'm saying okay because last week they didn't really do squat, and the week before they played good but not great. Yeah, he's made some big plays, and just for being a guy off the streets, that's a fantastic pickup. I noticed that Andrew Billings, if he even played today, I didn't notice him at all, so I thought that was very fascinating. I am concerned about our secondary with Greg Newsome getting hurt. It looks like he has a calf injury, and let's hope that's not a big deal. No one really in media or anything or fans are talking about it. That could be a big loss. I know we have Greedy Williams, but let's be real. I personally am in the camp that Greg Newsome's a hell of a lot better than Greedy Williams. And he's been fantastic. You only see a couple catches against him every game. Even that last game where he had the penalty, which was a shitty penalty, but I mean, if he's only doing that once a game for a rookie right now, then that's pretty impressive. Denzel Ward, too. I know he gave a couple catches. I thought he played a pretty clean game. And it's funny, you find Browns fans who are saying that he's terrible and all that. Like, he's guarding against the other team's number one wide receivers who are supposed to get, 80, 100 yards a game. So the fact that he's kind of limiting that's pretty nice. So the fact that Allen Robinson didn't really do squat, that's pretty good coverage in my opinion. Who cares if he gets a couple catches? And the safeties, like I said, they need to clean up that communication. But overall, I mean, Justin Fields couldn't even throw deep. He had no time/answer/ the play calling was horrible. And shout out to JOK. JOK is probably one of my favorite players to watch right now. He is just a playmaker. I love that sack that wasn't really a designed blitz, it looks like. It was either a delayed blitz or he was just supposed to be a spy on somebody, and he just said, F it. I saw an open lane and ran to sack Fields. I love that. That's football instincts, and that's a football awareness, which we lacked, especially last year in our defense. So that's fantastic. So that's another, I guess, overall high-level main takeaway is that our rookie class is looking decent with some of our guys with Demetric Felton. Man, I can't say his name. Looking pretty good so far, especially being a later pick. And then you have, if you want to throw Malik McDowell, he's not really a rookie, but you can maybe say that just because he's picked up from this situation. JOK, obviously. And then Greg Newsome, I think, playing very well, too. So those are good to see. And Grant Delpit's he looked very good last game. This game, I didn't really notice him too much, but that's not necessarily a bad thing either. Just the fact that he's holding his own. I think people, as Browns fans, should realize all these rookies, we're just going to see him go up and down throughout the whole year. A la Schwartz, as well, as he was a big thing game one, and now he's kind of irrelevant. And that's just a numbers game or how the injuries work and all that stuff. But yeah, anyways, nonetheless, I thought overall it was a great game. It kind of started off slow. I really want Baker to pick it up a little bit more. I'm not really concerned about it per se, but He just needs to kind of clean up some of the stuff. And I kind of get the vibe that himself and even the play calling is kind of good and bad. It's kind of being determined how well they do or how well the games are being called versus the opponent. So they're playing down to their opponents or they're playing up to their opponents. I kind of noticed that last year as well. And that's a little bit of a concern, but I also do like the fact that when it's a big time game, you kind of see both Baker and Kevin Stefanski, their playing calling step up. I'll take that. As long as we clean up these games. So basically, any game that we play a crappy team, don't expect ever to be a blowout. It just doesn't look like that in the past 2 years. It'll never be the case. Quite frankly, I don't think that's how our team's built either. I think we're more built for having a small lead overall, and then the fourth quarter just killing the clock with the run game, which I'll take. That's fun to watch. Anytime you can just run it up someone's throat, they know you're running it, and you could still do it. Pretty cool. But yeah, overall, very. I would say that's a more impressive win than last week for sure. And there's definitely good building blocks to build off of. I know we play Minnesota next week, so that'll be very fascinating to watch. I'll be curious now that we kind of have back to a competent quarterback in Kirk Cousins versus Justin Fields, who is just not saying he's not competent, but he's just a rookie first game starting. And then having, what's his name, that Texans backup rookie QB basically for half of the game. So now that we have Kirk Cousins, I want to see how our defense plays against him. That'll be very intriguing. And yeah, hopefully we can get that W and get the ball rolling. But yeah, thanks for everyone for watching. Let me know your thoughts as well, and go Browns.